Bienvenidos. Damos inicio a nuestra sesión en línea correspondiente a la actividad de aprendizaje número 2. Voy a compartir pantalla con ustedes para mostrarles cómo acceder a las actividades y el paso a paso de las mismas. Entonces, bueno, esta es la pantalla inicial cuando ingresamos a nuestra plataforma mediante Sofía o mediante Territorium. Vamos a encontrar los cursos a los que estamos inscritos. Entonces, bueno, yo voy a acceder a este, Learn English at Works 3. Y pues esta es la vista de instructor. En el menú de la izquierda ustedes van a encontrar algunas cosas similares al menú de ustedes. Hay otras que no. Entonces, en el primero encontramos anuncios. Aquí vamos a encontrar los anuncios que se han publicado. Entonces, ven todos estos anuncios que se han publicado. Contenido del curso, que este es el link que ustedes deben seguir. Hacemos clic allí y luego hacemos clic en proyecto. Encuentran las actividades, la información del programa, el horario, entre otros. Vamos al vínculo de la actividad de aprendizaje número 2, Activity 2, y encontramos las siguientes carpetas: Learning Guide 2, Material What Should I Do, Support Materials, Evidence Expressing Advice, Evidence Interactive Activity, Evidence Health Solutions, and Evidence Taking Care of the Planet. Vamos a revisarlos para aclarar dudas al respecto. Learning Guide 2. Click here. So this is the document. You find the information in English and in Spanish. You click here, click, and you find a PDF document. Guía de aprendizaje número 2. Bienvenido a la actividad de aprendizaje 2, compartiendo información con verbos modales, haciendo uso de la gramática, el vocabulario y el contexto apropiado del programa de formación English That Works 3. El aprendizaje de un idioma extranjero requiere de la interacción continua con diferentes situaciones comunicativas, las cuales permitan la expansión de conocimientos hacia ambientes cotidianos. Para responder a dicha necesidad, esta actividad de aprendizaje propone contextos y evidencias que apuntan a compartir información con los verbos modales should, must y el semimodal have to, en situaciones que requieran de un vocabulario específico respecto al cuidado ambiental, la buena salud, las enfermedades y algunos tratamientos médicos. La práctica de las temáticas anteriormente descritas fortalecerá el desarrollo comunicativo y enriquecerá su saber en inglés. Identificación de la guía de aprendizaje, resultado de aprendizaje, intercambiar información con verbos modales teniendo en cuenta la estructura gramatical, vocabulario y contexto requerido. Encontramos la competencia. Número 3, estructuración didáctica de las actividades de aprendizaje. In this case, we find the activities. Activity number 2, the material, what should I do, and the support materials. We have the instructions in Spanish for you to go and explore the materials. And then some recommendation, like you should consult a little more on the internet to go deeper in the knowledge. All the evidences must be in English, and you can have all your questions via the questions and concerns forum. Actividades de contextualización e identificación de conocimientos necesarios para el aprendizaje. Evidence, expressing advice. In this evidence, you will find some situations. You have to offer at least 4 suggestions for the person according to the situation. Please use the downloadable version where you have the information for this. And these are the instructions for uploading your evidence. Evidence number 2, interactive activity, medical prescription. For this evidence, you have to click on activity 2 and go to the interactive activity, medical prescription. Then do the activities with the instructions on multimedia. Evidence, health solutions. In this evidence, you will have to check the symptoms and write three things the person should or should not do to feel better. Again, it is a suggestion to have the downloadable version of the document where you will find the information for this evidence. And these are the instructions to upload your evidence. Evidence number 3, taking care of the planet. For this evidence, you have to record an audio where you give solutions for the problem about garbage and littering. You should use must, should, and the semi-modal have to in your answers. And these are the instructions and suggestions for the evidence. Finally, we have the online session for learning activity number 2, which is this one. We have here in 3.5 a general chart with the evidences, the criteria, and the techniques and instrumentations for evaluation. Interactive activity, health solutions, taking care of the planet, online session, and expressing advice. And the criteria, using the modal should, must, and the semi-modal have to. Expressing suggestions, using should, must, and have to. Using the vocabulary and the modal verbs should, must, and have to. And share information about sicknesses, illnesses, treatments, and others using should, must, and have to. And these are the techniques of evaluation: an interactive activity, a practical workshop, an online session, and an audio exercise. And this is the vocabulary that you should study. We have some illnesses and some other information like asthma, ache, aerosol cans, backache, bandage, bite, blister, bruise, burn, etc., etc., etc. So you have to study all this vocabulary. All right? Good. So that is Guía de Aprendizaje or Learning Guide for activity number 2. Let's go back here. Material, what should I do? You click on material, what should I do? And you find two versions, the multimedia version and the downloadable version. Let's go to the downloadable version, versión descargable. What should I do? You find information in English and in Spanish. In this second learning activity, you will learn about should, must, as modal verbs, the use of have to, do's and don'ts regarding environment, and vocabulary related to health. Then you find information in Spanish. Dear learner, this material will help you study the topics related to learning activity number 2. Modal verbs must, mustn't, shouldn't. Semi-modal verb have to, don't have to. Environment, do's and don'ts. And vocabulary related to health, illnesses, and treatments. Number 1. Modal verbs must, mustn't, shouldn't. You find information in English and in Spanish. What is a modal verb? The function and utility. You find, for example, in this case, should, must, and have to. Number 1, should. You find some examples, a picture with a situation, advice, duties, assumptions, among others. Then we have must. We have examples in a context, strong obligation, necessity, and logical deductions. Then we have the modal verb rules. There are aspects you should know about modal verbs. For example, here, we don't use auxiliaries and we don't conjugate verbs. No auxiliaries for the questions. They are all alone. And they are not in past. And they have no conjugation for he, she, or it. It's not necessary to use the preposition to, and they are not in the past. The semimodal verb have to or don't have to is not a modal verb, but it's usually used to express impersonal obligations. Like, in other words, the person has the obligation to do something that depends on an external authority. For example, the rules at work or school. Examples. We have these examples. We have to wear our uniform. Students have to wear a tie, etc., etc., etc. This is the affirmative constructions. Is necessary, have to, has to for he, she, it, has to, and have to here. In negative, don't have to, for he, she, it, doesn't have to, and don't have to. In negative, do I have to, do you have to, does he have to, does she have to, does it have to, and do we have to, do they have to. It's also possible to use in the simple past. Had to for all the personal pronouns. Didn't have to in the negative form. And did with auxiliary have to. Did I have to? Did you have to? Did he have to? Did she have to? Did it have to? Did we have to? And did it have to? It's also necessary to study the do's and don'ts. Do what is correct to do, the correct actions, and don'ts are the incorrect actions. We have some examples, like saving the water, saving energy, recycling, plant a tree, reuse, recycle batteries, etc., etc. And then we have the vocabulary related to health, illnesses, and treatments. Examples. You should get exercise regularly. You should sleep at least 8 hours per day. You should drink plenty of water, etc., etc., etc. Then we have the illnesses. Illnesses. For example, vocabulary: sick, nauseated, tired, and dizzy. Examples: I feel dizzy. I feel very tired. Types of pain you might suffer: sharp pain, a dull pain, a throbbing pain, a tingling sensation, burning, or ache. No H, ache. And possible treatments for asthma, backache, blister, bruise, burn, chickenpox, cough, cramps, dry throat, earache, fever, flu, fracture, graze, headache, heart attack, heart disease, infection, itchy nose, mumps, nausea, nosebleed, rash, running nose, smallpox, sneeze, sore nose, sore throat, sting, stomachache, strain, sunburn, swelling, toothache, vomit. And medical procedures. For example, bandage, checkup, dose of medicine, injection, medicine, operation, painkiller, pill, plaster, tablet, take medicine, tranquilizer. And then we have all the exercises for you to do. A lot of exercises. So you need to read this information to do the activities. Continue. Support materials. In support materials, we have free version, material de apoyo, descargable, y multimedia. Let's go to descargable or downloadable. You find a list of all the information that we need to study here. Asthma, ache, aerosol, cans, backache, bandage, bite, blister, bruise, burn, etc., etc., etc. So we have a lot of vocabulary. All right, good. Then we have the evidences. Number one, expressing advice. You click here, you find information in English and in Spanish. You click, and you're going to find a Word document with the information. The same for the interactive activity. You click on the interactive activity. You say ver scorn. You do the activity. It's interactive, so it's going to take a little long. And you have to follow the instructions given here. So next, you're reading the information, you listen, instructions, etc., etc., etc. So, Mr. Brown, how do you feel?
Instructions. Mr. Brown doesn't feel very good today, so he decides to go to the doctor, but he doesn't remember some technical medical words. Help Mr. Brown to talk to the doctor by selecting the right words in each statement. Take into account that if you make a mistake 3 times, Mr. Brown will not get his prescription.
So you choose the correct option, verify, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. So that is the objective of the interactive activity. Then we have the evidence health solutions. We have to click here and you find again Word document with the information. Similarly with the evidence taking care of the planet. You click here, you're going to find a PDF document with all the information and the instructions. The instruction is, sorry. In this evidence, you will have to record an audio file suggesting solutions for the rubbish problem. Use should, must, and the semi-modal have to in the answer and the information in Spanish. You have an example and the instructions. Okay? So now I'm going to share with you some websites for you to do some exercises. So you go to Google, for example, and you say modal verbs. exercises. You click on the first link and you find lots of exercises to do. For example, this one. Choose the most suitable form. You click here and choose the correct option. When you finish, you say check. And the computer is going to say what is correct and what is incorrect. Correct, incorrect. All right? On this website, you find a lot of exercises that you should do. And of course, there are exercises for other modal verbs. Very interesting in this website is that you find these videos. You can find videos on modal verbs. Let's watch the video.
Hello, I'm Emma from English. So tell me, what type of words are these? They're modal verbs. Now, I've been getting lots of questions about modal verbs from you lately, so I'm going to share some useful tips to help you use them a little more effectively when you're speaking English. Now, these modal verbs are auxiliary verbs, just like be, do, and have, because they work together with a main verb. You always have a modal verb with a main verb. And the main verb that follows is always in the bare infinitive form, without to. I could go. You should take. They would like. Paul may borrow. Now, these modal verbs are used in English to express something. They have a purpose. So we need to try and understand that purpose today. Now, they can be used to talk about possibility and probability, to talk about how likely something is. Now, remember, we're always using that modal verb with a main verb. So how likely is it that that action will happen? Are you certain? You're sure? You're confident it will happen? Is it probable? Is it likely to happen? Is there a good chance it will happen? Is it possible? Or is it unlikely? Now, in all of these situations, you can use a modal verb to explain how certain you are that something will happen, how possible something is. Now, these same modal verbs can also be used to explain ability, so how able you are to do something. They can be used to ask permission, make requests, and offer help. In fact, there's quite a few different uses. So I'm going to split this lesson in two. And I'm doing this because I want to take this slowly. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed and confused. So let's just take one step at a time. In this lesson, I'll talk about how we use modal verbs to talk about certainty, probability, and possibility. So this is how likely something is to happen, or if it's possible at all. And the next lesson will focus on ability and the other uses. So try not to worry about them right now. But make sure that if you're not a subscriber, you click that red button and subscribe so that you find out when that next lesson is available. Okay, so let's start with probability, how likely something is to happen. Now, we use will to talk about the future, when we're confident that something will happen. We believe it. We're certain it's true. The sun will rise tomorrow. Pretty sure that will happen. Ashley will be late. Well, she's always late, so I definitely believe that to be true. If you don't take a jumper, you will get cold. It's freezing out there. You'll also hear will used to give reassurance when you want to confirm that something is true. You know when your mum tells you, you will pass the exam, don't worry, even though you're really not sure that's true. She's using will to tell you that she's confident, she believes in you. When you're upset, your friends tell you, it will be okay. They're confident, they believe that everything will be okay. Now, if you're certain that something is not going to happen, use will not or won't. If they walk, they won't arrive on time. It's too far. I'm certain that that won't happen. We also use must when we are confident and sure of something that is happening in the present. And usually we have a reason or an explanation to tell us why something is happening. The baby's crying. He must be hungry. I thought Sarah would be here by now. She must be stuck in traffic. They didn't eat any of the meat. They must be vegetarian. Notice how I've given a reason for all of these examples to show why I believe something to be true. And it's quite common when you're using must. It explains that you are quite confident about the statement and you're able to give a reason to explain why you're so sure. To use must to talk about the past, when you're quite sure that something happened, then use must have. After flying for 36 hours, you must have felt exhausted. I thought I'd do better in the exam. I must have been really nervous. Oh, Jack's not here right now. He must have thought that you were meeting him downstairs. Now see how this creates the perfect tense. The main verb following have is in the past participle form. So when talking about the present or the future, must is followed by the bare infinitive form. But when talking about the past, must is followed by have and the past participle verb form. And this pattern is true for many of the modal verbs that we'll talk about today. We use should to say that something is likely. We're not 100% certain, but we believe it to be true. They left an hour ago. They should be here by now. If they take the car, they should arrive by 3. To talk about the past, we use should have. It's the same pattern. I didn't realize he was unwell. We should have offered to take him to the doctor. The school knew Sam was going to be late. They should have called her mother. Now, let's talk possibility. So if you're making really general statements about something that is possible, use can. People can be really rude. Be careful because it can be quite dangerous on the streets at night. It can be really hard to find a speaking partner to practice English with. It can take over 12 hours to hike through those mountains. Now, these are all general statements. They're not specific. I'm saying these statements are possible, but I'm not saying exactly what is happening. Now, in this context, could is used as the past tense of can. I remember winters in London. Weeks could go by without ever seeing the sun. So when we're uncertain or unsure about the present and the future, we use the modal verbs could, might, and may. They explain that something is possible, but not certain or guaranteed. If you wait near the door on Lewis Street, you could see the Prime Minister leaving. They might arrive before lunch, but I'm not sure. I may need to borrow your car. Now, might and may here are very similar. There is a very slight difference between the two, in that might tells us that the outcome is a little bit less likely. But the truth is that 99% of native English speakers don't even realize this. So you don't need to worry about the difference at all. When using spoken English, you can use either when talking about possibility. Just consider them to be the same. We may go on holiday in September. We might go on holiday in September. Close enough. The meaning of this sentence is so similar, but the second one suggests that it's a little less likely. That's all. We can also use could to explain that we are uncertain or unsure about the future. It could rain this afternoon. It might rain this afternoon. It may rain this afternoon. Now, all of these sentences tell us that it's possible, but not certain. There is a chance that it will happen. Simon could arrive before us. Simon might arrive before us. Simon may arrive before us. Now, these examples all talk about the present or the future. And the modal verb is followed by the bare infinitive verb form. But now, we'll go into the past, back in time. Then we use these same modal verbs with have, followed by the past participle verb. So suddenly, we're using the present perfect tense. They might have finished dinner by now. I'm worried. Something could have happened to Sarah. Okay, so that was talking about possibility. Now, let's focus on impossibility, when something is not possible. When we know that something is unlikely to happen. The chances of it happening are really small. When we think that something is impossible, we use the negative forms of can and could. You can't be serious. It's not possible. I don't believe you. Now, this expression is often used after someone says something that you just don't believe. When we think that what is said is very unlikely to be true. When we told them they'd won, they couldn't believe it. He said he was in a band called Meatball. He couldn't have been serious. So when spoken, these negative forms are usually contracted. Can't, couldn't, and couldn't. Now, you will never see this last one written as a double contraction, but you will hear it spoken. Couldn't. You will hear people pronounce the full negative form though, just to make the meaning stronger. That cannot be true. But you can make it even more dramatic by stressing every single word. That cannot be true. Okay, so let's summarize now. If you are certain about something, use will. Or use won't if you are certain that something is impossible. Now, if you're confident about something and you have a reason to believe in that, use must or should. If you're talking about something generally that's possible, use can. If you're not certain, but it's possible, use might, may, or could. So remember that there are different meanings for all of these modal verbs, and we're going to talk about these more in the next lesson. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that lesson. I hope you feel a little more confident using modal verbs to talk about possibility and probability. Now, remember that the next lesson will talk about how these modal verbs can be used for ability, to ask for permission, to give suggestions, and ask for advice. But for now, keep practicing with these lessons, and I will be back again next week with a new lesson for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Okay, so that's all for today. So if you have to do more exercises, you can use these videos, or you can go to the internet, Google Explorer, and you will find lots of exercises. Thank you very much. Have a good day.